Tell me about this really interesting project. It sort of like starts off in one sphere where it's more, I would almost say academia. Somebody's pursuing a dream and sort of like finding a mentor. But then it falls into a really weird scape. So I was wondering, where did this idea come from? What's the gist?
Well, I actually spent a year up in Michigan after undergrad, and I had an experience very, very much like Alice, my protagonist. So to a certain point in the script, it's fairly autobiographical in the sense of working for a very, very eccentric artistic person that kind of really challenges you in the how easily it is actually to go into a world that's totally unlike your own and come in with all of these preconceived notions about what people who are unlike you, what their interior worlds must be like. So a lot of that, a lot of the world, a lot of the characters were carried over, but I did not tangle with an armed paramilitary militia in real life, so that was very much fictional.
Outside of film references, what were some of the strong visual, oral, tonal ideas that you had about the project when you were writing? How were you thinking out loud in a visual scape, let's say?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I began writing the script, I was sort of romantically and abstractly very attached to this idea of writing a script that for the first 2/3 was a straightforward character drama and then would veer very, very sharply into almost an entirely different genre. So I kind of liked the idea of something that was a bit of a smaller, more unassuming story that kind of explodes almost into Straw Dogs. So I was watching a lot of Sam Peckinpah, who I really, really admire.
Okay.
And actually, Jeremy Saulnier is more modern.
Blue Ruin
and Green Room in
yeah.
particular. Yeah, where I was really studying just what he does with sort of patterns of violence, and using violence specifically to tell a story about very specific people, as opposed to just
violence
gratuitous shock value.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Eureka moments or epiphanies in terms of you sort of confirming whether you're on the right track, or even disproving that they're and saying, you know what, you got to start anew with a certain section or an idea.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very much so. I had a massive epiphany at the beginning of the second meeting. So the way the screenwriting lab works is you're assigned to 6 different advisors, all of whom are incredibly different but equally wonderful and talented and brilliant. And they sit down, they've all read your script many, many times and with a lot of love. And they sit down with you anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to 5 or 6 hours. And they're all very different storytellers in their own right. And it was the beginning of the second of 6 where I was asked very, very simple, straightforward questions, but they very quickly helped me to realize just how much I had sort of started from the place of having all of these very big, sort of weighty, philosophical things that I wanted to say, things that I feel very passionate about in terms of sort of our current political landscape and the current state of our country. And I had inadvertently started from there and then sort of reverse engineered a story and a set of characters, and which is never particularly effective because what you end up with is more of a polemic than a story. So these questions that she was asking me, which were very much about myself and about my main character, made me realize just how much of a sort of deep drilling down I need to do into my protagonist to really figure out absolutely everything there is to know about her.
Like backstory questions. I mean, not appearance or coif, but or mannerisms, but really their motivations and.
Right, yeah. So to help me get to a place where ultimately I can tell what is actually a very simple, not a simplistic, but a very simple story about sort of the surrogate family unit and what these two people, the mentor and the mentee, the wounds that they're each carrying with them, what they sort of reach in each other and sort of pull out in each other. And so this woman who's actually Veena Sood, who's the creator of The Killing and 7 Seconds, her questions helped me to realize, hold on, I've gone about this completely backwards. I need to start from this very simple story of fathers and daughters.
Yeah.
And if that story is truly effective, then everything else that I was trying to talk about, gun violence in this country and toxic masculinity, that can all sort of hum in the background. But if the spine of the story isn't there, So I'm coming out of the lab very, very excited to dive back in, but with a lot of work ahead of me.
Great. Well, happy to.